Welcome, everybody. My name is DJ. For those of you that know me in the solo leveling community, I am one of the ones that goes around and helps out on all kinds of individuals that are currently playing this game via the co-op world map. I have a few things today. Today, we're going to be going over a video that's going to be more so of frequently asked questions. So a couple things. This is obviously for beginners as well, so if you don't want any spoilers, I do suggest not watching this video. I'm going to put that disclaimer right now. But for those that are currently here and watching this, I got a few things for you. So a couple things. One, you can always customize a song to however you wish. I'm going with the cold cyberpunk look because why not? But one of the most frequently asked questions that we see is, what weapons should I build towards? So, obviously, I'm going to preface this a little bit here after we go to the crafting station.
If you bring me the finest materials,
the weapons that you should craft should always be for song first. It also depends on your playstyle. So, for example, if you choose the assassin class, you're going to be more geared towards like agility and perception. Mainly agility for the most part, but as you can see by the different weapons here, it's going to be agility and perception, and strength. These are going to be your main weapons, so those are going to be your main stats that you want to focus on. However, I will add, it doesn't hurt to invest in an HP stat. Now, if you're like me and you start as assassin but then reset your skills, which I will go over on how to do that, and you went over to ruler class and say you wanted to go with the demonic plum sword 2, which is currently what I use, that's based off perception, intelligence, and agility. Your biggest stat in that is going to be your perception, so counterattacks, perfect parries, perfect blocks, stuff of that nature. However, this can change per the weapon that you create, so keep that in mind. Also gonna put this out there, this is known, the devs know about this. If by any chance that you wish to try and get Baruka's dagger up to an A tier, it is currently bugged right now. The devs are aware of this. They are going to try and patch it, so do not worry about this dagger for this time being, because they're trying to patch the item requirements and the bosses dropping the items for these. But beyond that, Night Killer is actually a really good one regardless, if you still want to have like insane amount of damage, especially in back attacks. So one of the other things that I will also put out there is one of the best blades that I've used early on is Rosin's Blade 4. That is highly spec'd into intelligence. As you can see by the intelligence scaling on that is S tier, agility is A tier, and perception is B tier. Or for the grade A weapon, it is A tier for intelligence, B for agility, and C for perception. The other weapon that I highly recommend, this is just because of the fact of all the debuffs that I can add to a target, is obviously going with the Shadow Scythe, which is agility, perception, strength. Now, if you notice between all these, I'm mainly focusing on perception, intel, and agility. And agility, perception, and strength. So, that brings me to my next tidbit. In your skill tree, you can easily assign points and everything, but you have to remember, the weapons that you're focusing on is the ones that you want to primarily focus on. Obviously, mine's an all-rounder build because I've been tanking for a lot of people. I've been taking a lot of damage for a lot of people. I've been helping the community mods out with their co-op hunts and everything else like that. But all of this stuff, it will cap to a certain percentage, obviously. So, like, you can't just dump 120 points and just have, like, no HP. For example, because it does cap at a certain percentage. So one thing I'll always recommend is, personally speaking, and that's because I'm more biased towards the all-rounder build is to go for an all-rounder build. So, like, for example, I have 80 in strength. I have 75 in vitality, 74 in agility, 75 in intelligence, and 80 in perception. As of this current moment in time, I am only level 58. The level cap right now is 85. So obviously that has yet to change. The other thing that you want to do and you always want to check up on, especially if you're in the world maps and stuff like that, is to try and upgrade your designated class. So let's say, for example, I am ruler. You can see on this screen here, I have everything in this class set, including the overdrive. But some of this is actually really useful, like slightly recovers HP each time the user defeats an enemy. Or increases Sung's attack proportional to the number of nearby allies. Which, as a ruler, you're going to be constantly summoning shadows. So this is actually going to be insanely powerful for you to have that ability on. Now, obviously, with each class, there's going to be its perks and its downsides. So, for example, with the elementist set, yours is going to be towards elemental debuffs and elemental attack. So let's say you're going against a fire demon, you needed to use ice. So you're going to have to craft multiple weapons to counter everything in relation to that, and skills and such. The duelist class, which is the one I'm currently working towards right now as my side class, this is meant more towards say, for example, when the user uses deflect, it increases the stagger, as well as like decreased damage taken, increased HP, all that wonderful stuff. Highly recommend multi-branching your class, as that will help you out in the long haul. Now, the other thing that I'm actively working on, as we can see here, is your individual weapon skill trees. I am right now using a polearm, which is a scythe, and I'm using swords. Obviously, I need to get more of these skill tree books, which are these skill scrolls right here, so that way I can actually go ahead and fully level this out. Now, one other thing, and I actually have helped out a couple people with this, is in your skill tree for your physique, before dumping all your scrolls, let's say, into one thing, what you want to do is you want to put one in each individual one. So like one in attack, one in defense, one in HP, go all the way down the list and just get them unlocked. And then as you finish this up and you start getting more of these special skill scrolls, you want to then start working on your Monarch's Awakening, because you need to survive long enough to actually get to Monarch's Awakening in any fight. And for those wondering what Monarch's Awakening is, it is pretty much your awakened form, your I'm going to be unstoppable for X amount of time form. As you can see by some of the buffs here, the user's damage dealt is increased while using Monarch's Awakening. The user's damage taken decreases while using Monarch's Awakening. What that means is essentially you take less damage. And as you progress through, you'll get more and more items in relation to that. There's also one where the user's ultimate skill it increases the EX gauge acquisition rate. So that's actually really good for when you need to do your ultimate technique in regular Sung form, as well as your QTE skills, which is really nice. But that's as far as stuff goes for that. Now, as far as recommendations go for me, obviously, like I said before, I'm a little biased.
If you bring me the finest, do you want
on items to use? I went with Kasaka's Venom Fang for the longest time on that, because I started as an assassin build. And then I started going with the Rasen's Blade. But I do want to emphasize this. This entire game, it is an action RPG game. This entire game is focused around you and your playstyle. So if you like to get up close and personal, then by all means, feel free to use this video as reference material on what to go towards and what to work towards. If you are a long-range combatant, so you like to be on the outskirts and you like to just, lay into the enemy without getting too close, there's a couple different things with that. I would say definitely focus on the ruler in that case, because you can also send shadows in to take aggro and stuff like that for your overdrive ability. But at the same time would be to try your best to make like your bow, obviously, like what you're going to be starting with and going up towards. But try your best to get the Phoenix Soul 4. The reason I say that is because this is by far one of the most powerful bows in this game. And as you can tell, it scales off of intelligence, agility, and perception. But it's still one of the most powerful ones out there. Or, better yet, you can do what a lot of others have done, and this is something that's been very well known in the community. For your firearm skill is going with the West Wind 3 and trying to get up to that point, because you only get Lycan Slayer all the way up to Lycan Slayer 3. Then you go to Black Falcon, which goes all the way up to Black Falcon 3, which is a B rank tier. And then your sniper is going to be your best one that's going to hit the hardest if you're going full perception build. And that thing is just nasty to come across, even in duels. Now, for those of you that are looking for recommendations for a duelist build, one of the recommendations I would put out there, obviously, would be using a pole arm as your primary. Reasoning for that is because, as you can see with this Divine Quarterstaff, it scales off of your strength and vitality. And obviously agility, but mainly your strength. And then as you go into the S tier of the weapon, it's going to be going agility and vitality. So you're going to be able to take a lot more hits. The follow-up to that would be to then try to build towards Vulcan's Rage 3. The reasoning for that is because your biggest one on this list is that it scales off of your vitality. So if you have a crap ton of HP, if you have a crap ton of stuff that's going to help you with that, making this weapon is going to be a lifesaver. Plus, whenever you go to use your weapon skill alt on this, it is going to just rain down meteors from above, which is really nice. That's just strictly my opinion, of course. Obviously, you guys can still go with your own build. Magic casters, you guys only have 3 options here. I would personally recommend a firearm as your secondary, but your primary should definitely be a focus of some sort. May it be a Sandstorm Cube, to then going into the Burning Grimoire. But if you start getting into the Burning Demons Grimoire B, you should start working into the Thetis Grimoire 4. That's, like I said, strictly just my opinion. These are just some commonly asked questions that I see in the Discord all the time. Now, the other thing that's going to come up is, which hunters should I go for? What is the best ones to have in your team? The ones that I'm currently using as of this moment as part of my team formation, this is up to my playstyle, of course, so obviously keep that in mind. But I am using these guys as my main 3. Essel is apparently stupidly broken with her bow build. And it is well known that she is absolutely broken without a shadow of a doubt. And then I'm obviously going with the monk healer here, because he's got some of the best heals, and he can also grant you shield for you and your allies in that fight. So it's good to have him on the team. The other frequently asked questions is where can I put shadows on and everything else like that. When you're in this menu list here, when you go into team formation at the very bottom center, you're going to see an option to select who you wish to have on your team. Obviously, right now there's only 5 shadows, as well as behind my character here, which let me go ahead and turn off my PNG for a second. Behind my character here,
looks fun.
is right here where my mouse is where your pet is. I suggest having one on. The reasoning for that is because when, let's say, for example, you need to respond to somebody in Discord or you go AFK for a minute because of a cutscene, or whatever the case may be, and say some items dropped or some plants dropped, or you even missed a couple and you went AFK for a second to use the restroom or to just walk away for the time being, just to give yourself a break, your pet will go out and actually get those materials as long as it's nearby your vicinity. So I highly recommend, getting them. Beyond that, I do hope that this video has been helpful. If you do enjoy this, please leave a like, subscribe, and share the video with other people in the solo leveling community. Let them know that, this is just a beginner's tips of things that I wish that I knew starting off. One other tidbit, and I'm going to leave this as an extra bit at the end. You're going to start off with very little to no money in this game. However, key emphasis on this one. Do not sell anything. Just do the missions, repeat the missions a few times. It's going to be a tiny bit of a grind, but I promise you, the more and further and powerful you get in this game, the more money you will see come back. As you can see with what I have currently right now, sitting at 98,000. And for those of you wondering, because this has been a common community question too, how do I recruit hunters? You have to come over to this lady after chapter 3. She will give you a list of hunters that you can then interact with, and you have to negotiate a deal with them or quick hire them if you have the materials to do it. Beyond that, the world is up free to you and your playstyle and how you go to play. Just make sure you help out the fellow hunters that are in the community, and always try to remain true to yourself. We are here to help one another, so if at any given point you need to go and jump into a co-op match, make sure you just go underneath the world map. You can check to see which ones are doing what underneath what chapters and stuff like that. So let's say if somebody was doing one for the Spirit Golem, as you can see here, co-op lobby waiting list, you can immediately just jump in and help them out. But beyond that, thank you guys for watching. As always, stay awesome, stay kind, stay humble, and I'll see you guys next time.